I'd have to ask my mom, because I think mine might have been on a little longer than 2 years too, but it was just, I just remember it was like, and then like when you get them off, you're all excited, and then they give you this retainer, and you're like, so now I gotta wear this all the time?
I gave up on my retainer.
Oh, me too.
At like 18, so my bottom row was all fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, mine settled back a little crookedy, but nothing like they were. I mean,
well, because the bottom row is what, it took like almost like a whole extra year just for that, so they just don't want to be.
They just don't want to be in a row. Yeah. Good evening.
Just having braces talk.
Yeah, we're talking about our braces. I'm glad my parents did it, because at the time when I really would have cared, I got to have straighter teeth. But I don't think I'd care now if I had snaggly teeth.
Mine were all, they had to be fixed.
Oh yeah.
They were all like folded over each other and shit.
Next time we hang out with my dad, just like take a look at his teeth. My teeth were exactly like his. Crookedy on the top, but not as bad, but crookedy on the bottom, like meh, 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 meh.
Got like shark teeth.
Yeah.
Oh,
you had like teeth coming in behind your teeth and shit. Yeah, that's why they had to space out your mouth. Yeah. So they had to fit all them teeth in the right. It's probably good that they did that for you though, because that would have changed your whole facial structure and stuff. But it's tough. I don't know. I have like mixed feelings on putting kids through braces. I think that a lot of kids get them and probably don't need them.
Well, the Invisalign stuff, like if you can fit your teeth into Invisalign, I feel like that's more of a cosmetic thing.
They've got other things that like Invisalign and stuff like that. But it's just like, I remember it being so painful when I was a kid and so socially awkward having a mouth full of metal all the time.
Did you have any kids in your class that had headgear?
Yes. Yep. Had a kid that had to wear headgear a couple days a week to school. And it's just like, I get it. Like, you're trying to straighten out their teeth when they're young so they don't have crookedy teeth when they're old, but it's just like, I don't know.
I feel like maybe there should be a more severe line drawn.
I don't know.
Causing problems.
Yeah, if it's not causing them like facial deformity, and it's not causing them speech problems, and it's not causing them problems eating.
Or like just making it impossible to clean their teeth.
Right.
Or something.
Like if it's not, like I get it. If some kids just need to have it straightened out. You sounded like you were one of them. You got teeth behind teeth. That's not good. But like me, I don't know that I needed it. I don't know that I needed to have my teeth all fucking mangled. Yeah, the elastic band things you had to tie up on your teeth.
Oh yeah. I tried to fix my overbite with that.
Yeah.
I was not good with that, so I still had a little bit of an overbite.
Yeah. I have to get a root canal. I had to get one of those, and they suck.
You haven't gone back since?
I haven't gone back to the fucking dentist since, because it sucked so bad. It was my first root canal, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's what this is.
Are you just gonna wait till your next root canal, you think?
No, I need to get in there and get my fucking yearly teeth cleaning and get checked out, because I had they said I had a couple other little cavities they wanted to drill. I don't want to wait until those get root canal level, but by the same token, like, fuck me, bro. That shit sucked. It's not so bad, Paul. The price is the only pain to suffer. I mean, we've got dental insurance. The price wasn't too bad, but the like sitting in the chair for 3 hours while they drilled in my face was the part that sucked. They do all kinds of weird shit, man. It's fucking like, I remember just like watching the crap they were putting in my mouth. They put these like long tubes in, these tubes of like look like plastic or something. They're just like loading them into my tooth. I'm like, where are those even going? Down into the root. I mean,
I gotta fill it with tooth gel or whatever.
it's all fucking crazy, just constant. Is there any part of being a teenager that doesn't suck? Like the freedom of it, at least for me. Like my parents, you know, like I lived at a time where curfew was pretty debatable, you know, like on weekends and shit. I didn't really have to like come be home by any certain time. And I had all my, you know, running around with my friends, and then you know, at 16, that kind of like burst of freedom you get when you've got your car and you can drive it by yourself. I don't know, man. Like I said, I feel like I'm a weirdo because like 90% of the people that I talk to are like, high school sucked. And I almost feel like I need to just go along with it. It's like, yeah, but it didn't for me. Like high school, like I'm not one of those dudes that like lives back in high school still in his mind, but like high school was pretty dope.
Well, I think you took all of your emotional stuff as a teenager and you channeled it outward. A lot of people just kind of get sucked into it.
Yeah, that's definitely the truth. I found something that let me express myself outwardly, and it gave me a place to put all that angst. Not all of it, but a lot of it, you know what I mean? And that outlet probably helped me, especially like in the confidence area, you know what I mean? Like I still to this day I'm not the most confident person, but I do have a sense of confidence about me going forward that I developed during that time through theater. It gave me a different idea of what it means to be looked at, watched, and judged. You know, I think that's what drives a lot of people to be quiet, is they feel like, oh, everything I say, every movement I'm making is being visually and auditorially judged by everyone around me, so I'm just gonna... And I did the kind of different things, like, yeah, everybody judges everything, so just say it, you know? It's hard being a teenager. Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't... I definitely had my moments where it was like, man, this is pretty rough. Dude, this hair is driving me nuts. I hate when it gets like... I've got like a natural part down the middle of my head, and I hate when this happens. Yeah, I like accidentally move it over or something, and it creates it's all fucky up here, and it drives me nuts looking at it. So I'm gonna try and fix it.
Yeah, I tried going back and then spreading it.
I do. Usually that's what I do. I start back here, and then I just let it fall wherever, and then I split it there. See? That's better. At least it's not all like folded over and I've noticed all the theater kids are doing well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's true of my group, but most of them did. It's like, I don't think every kid should do theater, but I know for a fact it helped a lot of kids that had shyness, you know, or like social awkwardness. I know for a fact that it helped a ton of kids, because I was one of them. Like, I wasn't overly catastrophically shy or quiet or anything, but I definitely, like, my freshman year of high school, and it's funny, like, when I talk to my teacher, my mentor from that time, Ginger, she always tells me, you know, you were on the precipice of being a loser, basically. So when you came in freshman year, you would come in here. You see, I had first period drama 1. So she said you would come in here half asleep, reeking of weed, stoned, and you thought you were just gonna like cruise your way through this class because it was easy, and I wasn't gonna let you do that. She's like, I could see that you know, you had talent, and I wasn't gonna let you, you know, I was ready to flunk you, to show you that you're not going to get an easy A out of this just because you're charismatic. And having somebody intervene in that and give me something to channel all that teenage angst into helped me tremendously. And kids that didn't have that were probably, you know, not as happy as me. I say I didn't appreciate having my intelligence insulted. I didn't insult your intelligence, Paul, and you insulted mine. And I don't appreciate Johnny insulting my intelligence either. I don't give a fuck, bro. You don't like it, get out. Don't cry. Your intelligence was probably, I don't even remember what you're talking about, Spino. But your intelligence was probably insulted because you said something retarded. Let it be a lesson to you. Think before you speak. Read a book, etc., right? I know why you think you were ugly, Paul. You were so cute. Huh? I didn't say I was ugly. I've never thought I was ugly. I just don't think I'm like Mr. Adonis. I don't think I'm a really good-looking guy. But, you know, that's in the eye of the beholder, too, right? What kind of cigs do you smoke? You're just going to get banned, bro. That's such a stupid question. Who cares? What brand of milk do you drink? You know?
Pretend that it matters, but we're fiends enough that we'd take the fucking cheap shit if we had it.
Fuck yeah. Smoke whatever I got. Actually made my high school time a lot better back in the day, Paul. Oh, you watched me while you were in high school. That's creepy. Not creepy on your part, just creepy to me to think of the time that's gone by. I hear all the time from people that are like, hey, Paul, I started watching you guys in middle school, and now I'm fucking married. And I'm like, did I raise like a whole generation of illegitimate children and shoo them out into the world or what?
Remember how tripped out you were when you thought that, like, Zeke had found you on his own? Like, oh no, my kid was watching you. And you're like, ah.
Yeah. I like whole milk, Mr. Naughty Priest. Hello, sir. I'm not a big whole milk guy.
Your oat milk is whole milk.
Yeah, but that's oats.
Yeah. It's full fat oat
I don't
milk.
mind oat milk or whole milk or whatever the fuck, but I got used to 2%. And that's what I drink. Well, I don't really drink milk anymore, but when I did drink milk, that was a 2% guy. I got you through your fetus year. My mom started watching you when she got pregnant with me. Now I'm a doctor. Scooter and the Hog delivers again. I know, dude. I'm telling you, me and Scotty got dynamic. Me and Scotty keep it moving along. Actually, we don't.
It's been a hot minute since you and TJ did something just by yourselves.
No, wasn't there there was a show where Scotty wasn't there and me and TJ did it not that long ago, right? When he was moving? Didn't me and TJ do a show while he was...
Maybe, yeah.
I thought we did. Thought we did a show while he was in transit like a couple weeks ago. But it has been a while.
It wasn't as memorable, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, maybe not. I was just watching your Scooter and the Hog app, the part where you were eviscerating Vosh, top tier. Yeah. I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at making people feel puny. TJ's still sick. No, we met today and we did a merch tier movie commentary. We watched Monos Hands of Fate.
For the one merch tier picture.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about how like we probably just like doing the live thing with that. We're just gonna do something else. Maybe just like record 2 commentaries a month and release them early to the merch tier.
Yeah, because it just seems like
nobody. I mean, there's just
there's not enough of them.
There's quite a. I mean, there's a decent chunk of people on the merch tier, but I have a feeling that the people that are on the merch tier are also people that are probably working in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Getting 5 or 10 of them in there to watch. It's not not work out. Just think of the alternative universe where TJ stayed with DP and you and Stoddy start Scooter and the Hog. Yeah, if you knew the dynamic of the Kirks, you would know that would never happen. The idea of Scotty splitting off from TJ and doing his own entertainment thing is...
Not that he couldn't. Just
not that he couldn't,
that's
it's just...
how they work. They are attached.
They're a team. They are a crew. A two-man team. Where one of them goes, so goes the other one. I get the feeling genuinely, like just like watching the dynamic of the Kirk brothers, that they have been leading each other around the country. Back and forth, you know what I mean? For like 20 years. It's like TJ decides he wants to move here, Scotty figures out how to move there. Then Scotty thinks he wants to move up here, TJ figures out how to get up there. You know what I mean? It's like... they just have like kind of like followed each other around the country since they were teenagers. And I think that's just how they function, you know? It's sweet. It is. They take care of each other. You know, the brotherly way, which is nice. Watch out for each other, and their finances are tied together. They're very close as family. You know, their families are both married. They're very close. It's neat. It's one of those things that, like, you know, I won't get to. I never got to experience because I never had a brother. I guess you could have that kind of connection with a sister, but it seems like a little. I don't know. It would just be a little different, I think. Like me and my sisters were together when we were young, and then when we we lived together when we were young, and then when we got older, we all kind of went our own ways. And most of the people I know, too, that grew up with brothers and sisters, that's usually how it goes. So it's kind of rare in this day and age to see a family that sticks that closely together. And so that's kind of cool. That's old school. TJ's mom's a goddamn sweetheart. Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, like, Terry has always been chill to me. She's always, like... I just don't know how to put it. She was always kind to me. She was never, like, overtly, like, fawning over me like a mom sometimes would. But she always made sure I was okay. She always welcomed me into her home. She always had a smile and a hug for me when I saw her. She always would sit and laugh with us. And so she's just a great person. You know, that, like, whatever's good in TJ and Scotty, most of it, I think, came out of her. Not to diss their dad. But the things in them that I see that are like warm, family-oriented and stuff, I see all of that reflected in their mother. I never got to meet their father, so I'm sure some of that came from him too. I'm not trying to dog him out, but like she's just a really like, she radiates a vibe. She's one of those people that like just radiates a chill fucking good vibe all day. You know, she's got that down. She's got like, I guess like Marianne Williamson would say she has a good aura, you know. I have no idea what TJ's dad was like. I never got to meet the guy. I mean, I've heard them talk about him, and it seems like he was pretty hot-headed, stubborn, maybe a little mean. But say what you want about the guy, he provided for his family. You know, he did his best. Hot-headed, mean, a little bit selfish is the way he comes off in his stories. Kind of kept his own counsel to a fault, maybe. Rumor has it that Biden drops out today. You're talking Monday, Nikki? I mean, they've been saying that for 3 weeks now. 3 weeks, every day I look at the thing and there's another one going like, Biden rumored to be dropping out. Maybe it's true.
Cricket. My goodness. I'm gonna put your little butt away.
wish I could learn to be that way and put off the good aura vibe. Get him. Tidor was ready to enforce on the jiggle, and he hates it too. He hates the doorknob jiggle. Would Dinor win a presidential election? Of course. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you vote for the Dirty D from the Salty Sea? I know I would. I know he's got my best interest at heart. I know in a story of yours you'd mentioned your dad is more of a friend to you than a dad. It's not too personal. Do you feel like your relationship with your dad has changed with age? Yes, extremely. Yeah, like a lot, especially recently. My father and I, like, you know, we didn't speak for about 6 years. After my divorce, he and I had a big blowout fight, angry thing, you know, and we didn't speak for 6 years. And then my dad, 2 years ago, almost died of cancer. He has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he actually has a special kind of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that is tied to the weed killing spray Roundup. So my father is actually involved in a big class action lawsuit against Roundup with a bunch of people who have gotten this non-Hodgkin's lymphoma who were exposed to Roundup. My dad used Roundup my whole childhood. I was talking to him on the phone the other day. He just had to sit for a 9-hour deposition, and they raked him over the coals. The lawyers for Monsanto raked him over the coals for 9 fucking straight hours. And, you know, he used Roundup my whole childhood to, you know, do the yard and the garden. I mean, it was just like ubiquitous. I told him, I remember Mom showing me how to use Roundup, and I used to help her spray it on the tomato plants. Because she would do it, and I used to love helping her tend the tomatoes, pick off the tomato worms. I've told you guys that. Pick the tomatoes when they were ripe. Bring them in. Right? And I wanted to help with that tomato garden, so she had me. She showed me how to pump up the thing to get the pressure up, how to spray it, and then she just let me do it. And that shit, that Roundup, that still exists, by the way, has caused tens of thousands of people to get this specific kind of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And it almost killed my father. So that happened to him, and it changed him. Like, I don't know how else to put it. It sounds like trite, but facing death or whatever changed him as a person. Not fundamentally, he's still the same guy. He's still got a lot of the same proclivities. But the way that he deals with me now, it's almost like a role reversal. So he and I, when I was a teenager and a young man, were more like friends than father and son. Now we're more like father and son, and this is, I don't mean this to be mean to my dad, if you're listening, Dad, because he does. I feel like sometimes, like, the role has been reversed. Like, my dad is kind of lost, and that I'm not, I don't want to say that, like, the father-son role has been reversed, but I feel like it's there, but I just feel like he needs my help with things now. Because he's old, you know. I mean, I don't mean to be mean about that either. I said that to him the other day, and he got real pissed. I pissed him off. I said, Dad, you're not you ain't no spring chicken anymore. You're long in the tooth. You're gonna be 70. And he was like, he got all quiet, and he was like, yeah, thanks for that. I was like, well, it's true. It's true, you know. I don't know what to tell you. He got all feisty with me about it, but I don't know, man. I feel like he needs my advice. Like, it's strange. It doesn't feel bad. I don't feel like it's a negative thing, but I just feel like we kind of skipped a whole part of the father-son relationship. Like the part where you're a young man and your dad's supposed to help guide you. You know, that didn't happen. I had to do that on my own. But, you know, now he's old and I'm middle-aged, and You know, it's the old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were kind of thing. It's only going to get more like that as you both get older. I know. It's just weird to me because I didn't think my father and I were going to have any kind of relationship. I thought I was going to get a phone call one day that he had a heart attack and he was dead. Or whatever, you know. Like, that's pretty much what I'd resigned myself to, because the last time we spoke before we stopped talking was just, I didn't want that in my life ever again. You know, it was ugly on both sides, and it made me feel awful, and I was just like, I can't, you know what, there's no relationship that's worth that. And so I was done. I was done. I wouldn't have, like, not picked up the phone had he called me, but I knew he'd never do that. And he didn't even when he was dying. Even when he was dying, he didn't pick up the phone. My sister had to tell me. So, how's your mom? She's good. Yeah, she's good. She's getting old, too. She's pushing 70 as well. And, you know, she's got health problems and stuff like any old lady does, but she's spry and still with it, still really involved in her church, really involved with her grandbabies' lives, still living at home with her husband. No, at least at this point, no assisted living stuff needed. Although, I gotta be honest with you, I think they could probably use, maybe not a nurse, but like somebody to come once or twice a week and help them clean. Not that their house is not clean, but that's the point. My mom's working like she worked when she was fucking 20 to keep that house clean. And she ain't 20 no more. But other than that, she seems to be doing okay. You know, she's super happy from what I can tell. She's really involved in her church. Like I said, she's really got like that community involvement thing that comes with being in a big church. And then I've got a big family. You know, my sister's got 7 kids, so just a big fucking brood of kids. And that's grandbabies for my mom till the end of time, so I don't get bothered about grandbabies anymore, which is nice. Thank you, sister.
When did she stop?
I had to tell her to stop.
Yeah.
I had to have a whole talk with her and Steve because it was starting to drive my ex crazy because we weren't sharing with people that I was infertile or that we were trying or like having trouble yet, and they were just hammering it. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna have to tell them then. Well, tell them, but then I don't want to hear about it anymore. So I had to go talk to them. Tell them like, look, I can't have babies. We've been trying for like a year. It's probably not gonna happen. So maybe stop asking. And they did. They respected that. But as far as like when did I start feeling the subtle pressure? When my sister had her third. When my sister had her third child, my mom was good. Death is strange. I always imagined that my stepdad's death would be the hardest, but now I'm faced with the potential of my mom dying. I feel so incredibly conflicted, so much unspoken error. I mean, if she's not dead yet, then make that unspoken error spoken. That's what I did when I went and talked to my dad. He was dying. You know, he was still on what they thought might be his deathbed when I got there. And then the day that I went to visit him, we got there the night before, he was about to die. I decided I'd go see him in the morning if he made it, because they wouldn't let me visit late when we got in. Went and saw him in the morning, and he had woken up. He was lucid. He had like come out of the fugue state, and I, didn't know how long that was going to last, and so I sat down with him, and everybody cleared the room, and I had a little heart-to-heart with him. Because I didn't know that there was going to be another day in his life. Well, here he is. He survived it. He's cancer-free 6 months, like in full remission, and he's got his life back, and he doesn't know what to do with it. So now I'm kind of stepped into this like guidepost role, which is strange to me, but I'm trying to be a good son with it. you'd be a good grandpa. Well, I try to be a good uncle. You know, I have to be. You know, you can't have 7. And I have 7, 8, 9, 10, technically 11, 12 nieces and nephews. 2 of them I probably won't see much because they're my stepmom's children that have kids, and I don't really talk to them much anymore. I just don't live near them. But like my other sisters, they all live here on the West Coast. And my biological sister has 7. My youngest stepsister has 1, and my technically middle stepsister has 2. So yeah, I've got 10 like accessible nieces and nephews. And then you flip it on the other end. I guess I'm not necessarily I'm a brother-in-law to Amelia's 2 siblings. You know what I mean? I'm technically their brother-in-law. And, you know, so I'm not saying I feel as responsible and they don't really know me as well. But, you know, that's another, like, those are 2 young people that are looking up to me as somebody that's older in their family. I gain a lot of, like, peace from that. When it comes to, like, because as I get older, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I've felt like I've seen my sister with her kids. Just in moments where they don't know I'm watching. And I've gone like, man, it sucks that I'll never have that. Whatever that is. Because it's different than when they come running up to me. But it gives me a lot of comfort that all those kids love me so much. You know. And I get to be, you know, their uncle, which is cool. You know, I like that idea. And they like me as an uncle. Most of them do. There's one of them that doesn't like me yet. But she doesn't like anybody. So it's okay.
You talking about the baby?
Mm-mm.
Oh, the second baby.
Second baby. Second baby looks at everybody like they're wearing a Michael Myers mask. She's like... Yeah. Being an uncle is way more fun than dad. Yeah, they definitely look up to you. It's overlooked, the effects of uncles and aunts. Well, especially if you're involved in their lives. I haven't been. I'm an on and off again uncle, unfortunately. For a lot of their lives, I was living in Texas, Washington, Louisiana for a while. I wasn't nearby, and even being nearby, for the longest time, there was this kind of gulf between me and my sister and my brother-in-law and my mom that, like, kept me from going over there as much. But, you know, I try. I can't be as involved as a dad would be in those kids' lives, obviously. And I can't be as involved as, like, a retired uncle would be. I work a lot. I travel a lot for my job. I move all over the fucking country because I'm a Rolling Stone and I can't find a place that feels right for me. You know, and a lot of that makes it hard to be there in your nieces and nephews' lives all the time. Deadbeat uncle. Yeah, kind of. For a while. I mean, what are you going to do? I recently had... Nope. No adding each other. That's a whole ass paragraph of shit between you and some other fucking person, bro. Don't do it up in here. Don't do it.
Go find each other on some
Yeah.
Discord or
If you're
something.
gonna do that, make it like to exchange Discord links or fucking whatever, so you guys can get the fuck out of here. Because I almost read a whole paragraph and responded to it that wasn't for me. Don't do it. Stop it. Fuck. Just like I will train this chat. I will train this chat. Like, don't type in the fucking chat unless it's something you want me to read. Oh my god, here we go. Have you ever seen that movie? Is a terrible fucking question. I guess I'm just gonna have to just ignore you guys tonight. It's like I'm having a whole ass conversation with my wife that's interesting. Maybe I should just turn this off and talk to her. Fuck, bro.
There's not many people that do what you do and just focus solely on the chat.
I know, but the people that come through here know what I do.
Yeah.
They know that I'm like looking to the chat to answer questions. It's like a long Q&A. And when they're just like fucking paragraphing each other and how, like they're off in La La Land on some side conversation, it just fucking pisses me off. You're nattering. Ugh. I have like misophonia, and so when I'm in a big crowd, it can be hard because my ears are trying to tune into 90 different conversations at once, and people are just loudly talking like there's not people that don't know them sitting next to them. That fucks me up. Like all the way up. And so like that being like, I come here to have a conversation with 100 people that's manageable in that way, and I still have that like, hey, I have a dog. Do you have a lizard? And we're just like, you know, we're talking about politics, and there's 3 different groups of people like, yeah, man, I love to pick flowers. It's like, ban, 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 ban. Paul, what was your uncle like? I've got a bunch of uncles. I don't really speak to a lot of them anymore. The one that I do, my Uncle Sid, he's a nice guy. He's a really cool guy. He's got some mental problems. He's an older guy, but he's sweet as shit, and he just loves to laugh and smile and make jokes. And you know, he really hit it off with Amelia. He loves Amelia for whatever reason. Oh, I know a few reasons. He probably thinks she's cute, but beyond that, like they just kind of like have similar personalities, I think. It was just so cute to see them when we went to Pismo. Me and my dad were walking on the pier, and I looked back, and Amelia and Sid are sitting back there. You know, they're walking behind us, talking, off in their own little world and stuff. He's a great guy. He's a sweet guy. And I'm glad that I got to get him back in my life and stuff. But a lot of my other uncles, my dad's side of the family is pretty tore up. My mom's side of the family too. So I've got 2 uncles on my mom's side of the family, and 2 on my dad's. And yeah, they're the only one that I ever really get to talk to is my dad's brother. Dad's older brother. Is he the one?
You've met more of my uncles than I have yours.
Yeah, I've met more of your uncles. Yeah, I mean, since we've been together, I haven't seen any of my uncles other than Sid. So, you were gonna go back on Destiny? Yeah, I told him I'd be back. I'm gonna finish up that. It's just such a boring fucking talk because it's all just academia shit. But I told him I'd finish up that talk with Norm Finkelstein so that we could go through that. I don't even know if he's going to be interested in going through it at this point. He's had like 2 giant arcs since then, but I'll make good on what I told him I was going to do. And I'll pop in. Like, I almost wanted to pop in today because he said something that pissed me off right before I went live. Like, I was watching his stream right before we went live with the commentary for the merch tier today. I almost wanted to pop in and like yell at him about something, but I didn't. I don't want to abuse, like I told him the last time I popped in, I don't want to abuse the privilege or whatever of having perms on his stream. Like I can pop in pretty much whenever I want, and so if I'm a nuisance, I'm not going to have that power for long. So I'm trying not to overdo it. I really am not trying to clout shark Destiny, so you know I'm trying not to look like I'm trying to be on his show every day or some shit.
Like
if I have some
a certain Geegan veins.
Yeah, like Geegan veins. Does your wife have a cool family? Hell yeah, she does. Yeah, I love my wife's family, and they like me too, which is great. It's always good to get along. I've always been pretty good at that, except for 2 standout examples. My ex-wife's father hates me to this day and hated me. I think he tolerated me while we were together, but I think he's one of those dudes that's like, I knew that fucking guy was no good, kind of in his mind. So he and I were never able to find like that simpatico. And then my first girlfriend's dad hated me as well. But every other like parent situation I've had has been nothing. You know, I'm pretty easy to get along with a guy, and I'm socially pretty adept. So typically, like, I I make a good impression. I think not visually, never visually, but after they talk to me for a
What do you
while.
mean not visually?
I just mean, big fucking unkempt beard, long hair, hippie look thing. That's not what.
One of the uncles that you met was kind of in the same vibe, but just cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean, though. Like, there's a certain like, if I showed up all clean cut in a business suit, that would probably make a better first impression visually
I don't think so.
than showing up in baggy pants and a skater shirt.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen much of my family in suits very often.
Well, there you go. Destiny is lame. Vouch is way better. Okay. I want to check out your Geegan Veins debate. Yeah, it's on here. I did it on my end, so you have to watch you have to go back and find it in the live section here on the channel, but it's labeled Geegan Veins in the house or whatever, so you can find that pretty easy. And it was an interesting talk for the first half of it, honestly. He put me up on game on quite a bit of like, I don't know what you'd call it, like vegan apologetics. And I think we found a common ground in that. Like, I was able to agree with some of his positions on it. And then we went to IP and it just fell to shit. Because, like, we established an ethic that did not apply to human beings in the IP. I was like, okay, I can't do this. Geegan Veins, Geegan Veins. Yeah, it's on here if you want to check it out.
You held on to your end of the bargain. You tried the vegan cheese.
I did.
It was
And I
not
told him
good,
that. I told him that. I happened to pop in at one point when Geegan Veins was in there on Destiny, and I told him I tried the vegan cheese. I tried the oat milk that he recommended. I did switch to the oat milk, so I told him that, and he was happy about that. So look, I'm not trying to be a total dick to Geegan Veins. He was still a very cordial guy in the first half of our combo, and I wanted to let him know it was just the IP shit that I hate him for. I tried the Goya cheese or whatever it was.
No, that was what Scotty recommended.
Oh.
'Cause remember, he gave you the actual recommendations for the milk and the cheese.
Right, yeah. Ever heard of the vegan mayo? No, I have not. Isn't he a well-known psychopath? I don't diagnose people. I think he's talked about having problems with empathy in the past. That doesn't make him a psychopath. I mean, defending genocide is a pretty good reason to not like someone. Sure. And I don't like him. But I don't hate him either. You know what I mean? I don't like the dude. If I liked the dude, I would have hung in there with him. Even if I didn't like the dude, if he would have presented his argument in a more honest way, I would have hung in there with him. A lot of people have asked me, like, why'd you hang up on Geegan Veins, but you sat there and talked with Destiny for 5 hours? It's like, because say what you want, but Destiny, like, treated the conversation in good faith, didn't flip out, didn't start saying wild shit that was easy. Like, he didn't go down the Qassam rocket path. Like, that was just an odd angle that Geegan Veins decided to take with me, with the Qassam rockets and shit. And Destiny didn't go there. We ended up talking history shit. Destiny schooled me on some history shit, because I didn't know, the history of that area, and he did know some of the history of that area. So he was able to put me up on game on that. It just didn't change my prescription much. It's like, all right, well, the history is more complex than I gave it credit for, but that doesn't mean that there should be a genocide going on. That's kind of where I'm standing on it. And that was a way more interesting conversation than Geegan Veins pretending he knows anything about what it takes to forge and build a rocket. And that was a retarded angle for him to take. It was somebody else's talking point. I could tell. You know what I mean? Destiny can regurgitate information but cannot critically think. I don't think that's true. People will say some just like wildly out of wing shit. And you know what? Like, to his credit, Destiny has put me up on being more mindful of that. Because one of the things that happened was after that big long talk we had, somebody sent him a video of me here, talking about like the Norm Finkelstein debate that he had and how Norm beat him in that. And it bothered him because he knew that I probably hadn't watched the whole debate. And he knew that, maybe I wouldn't have come at him that way if I was in his face, and that bothered him, right? And so he fucking like called me in the next day. And it still kind of weirds me out because but I've come to have empathy for him because his reputation means a lot more than mine does. Not just in terms of popularity, but in terms of the way that he is popular. His reputation as a guy that doesn't lose debates, or at the very least doesn't drop easy debates, or doesn't say stupid things that let people get easy dunks on him and stuff, like that matters to him in a way that it just doesn't to me. I don't care if people think I'm an intellectual. I'm not trying to look like a smart guy. I'm not looking to angle my way into I'm not saying that Destiny is, but I'm saying I'm not trying to be a political wonk that people fucking respect. That's just not on my list of things. I'm an entertainer. I try and make people laugh. I try and make people think. But I think of myself as just an average fucking dude that says what he thinks. And Destiny does not think of himself that way. He thinks of himself as an average guy who has spent years and years and years honing his ability to debate political points, social points. And, he needs to be right more than he's wrong to do that. I don't care. Of course, I care about being right, but if I'm wrong about something, it doesn't destroy my credibility or not in my eyes. And that's the interesting thing about it. That's why I've kept talking to the guy. Because after that first 5-hour conversation, whatever, we got our shit out. It was interesting. We probably could have stopped there. But the reason I've kept talking to the guy is because of that second conversation when he pulled me in, and I didn't figure out until halfway through that he was pissed off about something that I said about him behind his back, basically. Because I just thought I was literally flabbergasted when he pulled me in and started grilling me on Finkelstein and wouldn't let me ask any questions. He was like, nope, let me finish, and I was like, am I in trouble? What did I do? And then I realized about halfway through, I was like, did I say something about, and I was like, oh, maybe last night in the fucking ideology, I said something about this. And so I asked him, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, Jesus, man, we've been talking for fucking 15 minutes, and I didn't even know what about. And thinking about that, why did that happen? Because that was confusing as fuck to me. Because I was like, why would this guy give a fuck if I thought Finkelstein won a debate fucking 6 months ago or not? But then I started thinking about here's why he gives a fuck. Because that was a big debate for him. He caught a lot of shit for that debate. A lot of people probably said similar shit. He hates it because he knows that those people didn't even watch the debate. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I was able to come to that realization through empathy, I guess.
What are you doing? It's like fucking 3 weeks later.
Yeah, I don't know. Come here, D. Come here, buddy. It's okay. Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a sploder. It's okay.
Better be the only one.
It's just a sploder.
You come sit with Mama?
I don't think it's about ego fragility at all. I think it's about what he does for a business. See, I think he maybe assumes that I have the same sensibilities that he does, and then I maybe assumed he had the same as me. I have a very, people will say mean, nasty shit to me. I wad it up and I throw it over my shoulder, and I don't care, right, to a certain extent. I'm used to it. I don't defend every point. Destiny, on the other hand, that's what he does. He's about arguing and trying to come to a solution on political things with people. And when, people say shit like, oh, you got sauced on in that debate like I did, it, after having a long conversation with him, it bothers him. Because he thinks he's being misinterpreted and all of that, right? It's like that's part of his business. It's part of my business too to have people say shitty things about me. But it's also the way I deal with it in my business is I usually ignore it or just fuck on those people and move on. Like if somebody were to it happens to me all the time. Oh, Vosh won that debate back in fucking 2020, and you're still salty about it. And I'm like, whatever. I don't feel like I need to absolutely defend every point that's brought up against me. Whereas he does, he feels like he wants to make that argument. I don't think he's stupid, and I don't think it is ego-based. His ego might be wrapped up in it as well. I'm not saying that, but I don't think it's like an out-of-control, fragile ego or anything. The notion that Destiny is an intellectual is a barometer reading on how stupid America really is. I never said he was an intellectual. I've never heard him say he was an intellectual. Maybe he has. I don't know. I don't think he's trying to come off like he's an intellectual. I mean, your VDS is pretty apparent. I admit it. I admit thoroughly that he is fucking well and truly under my skin with his smug bullshit. I've got it bad. Yeah, I hate him. I think he's a piece of shit. But I admit it, You should watch him debate Peterson on the COVID vaccine. He 100% won the vibes. Peterson, overly intellectual language couldn't save him. I watched some of that debate, and I gotta be honest with you, dude, it had nothing to do with Destiny. I couldn't watch the whole thing because I cannot listen to Jordan Peterson. The way he speaks and presents himself makes me want to choke him.
You have to endlessly shit on him just to tolerate it.
Yep. The only way I'm able to handle it is when we watch it on the show so that I can tell TJ to pause the fucking video every 5 seconds and make up some other funny thing about Jordan Peterson or do an impression of him or whatever the fuck. I can't sit there and listen. So Destiny, I remember I watched 20 minutes of it and it was an hour-long thing and I was like, I can't. And it had nothing to do with Destiny. It was 100% Jordan Peterson. I just cannot, man. Didn't Vosh say he's outgrown? He said he's outpaced Destiny intellectually. I believe that I've outpaced Destiny in his community, intellectually speaking. Said that without a hint of irony. Unironically spoke those words into existence. Unbelievable. Outpaced intellectually. That's why I hate him. Bosch is significantly to the left of Destiny. I don't understand how you like Destiny but not Bosch. I don't like Destiny, number one. I'm not talking to him because I like him. I don't think we would chill very well. I'm not trying to be Destiny's friend. I don't think we're very much alike.
I think you have a lot more respect for Destiny than Vosh.
I'm more interested in the way that Destiny thinks than Vosh. Vosh, to me, is a pretty standard neoliberal. Destiny is kind of more conservative and a little bit more pragmatic when it comes to economics and stuff. Not pragmatic, maybe that's not the word. A little more stodgy about economics. He's a little bit more of a believer in the current economic system. I'm just more interested in picking Destiny's brain. And honestly, I hate to use the terminology because it's overused, but I think Destiny is way more good faith than Vosh. Destiny doesn't reconstitute everything I say out of my mouth and reinterpret it in the worst faith way like Vosh does. I typed in Vosh's chat, for example, am I still a fascist for opposing Biden 3 months ago? And he reinterpreted that into 2 paragraphs. And he didn't even read what I wrote. Destiny doesn't do that to me. He listens to what I say and he takes it at face value, and then he unpacks it and asks questions or provides counterpoints, right? To me, that's fun. Talking to somebody who just continuously, like the last time I talked to Vosh, I think he misrepresented my position every time he opened his mouth. We would talk to him, and then he would open his mouth and restate our position as just sit around and do nothing. To the point where I had to yell at him what my position actually was so that he would stop misinterpreting it over and over and over. If that had happened with Destiny, it'd have been a one-shot Johnny. So it has nothing to do with how left he is or how right he is. I don't care about that. That's not the first thing I think about. He's a rad lib like you. Nikki, why are you trying to be a little agitator in here tonight? Calling me a rad lib is the most retarded fucking thing I've ever heard. Retarded as fuck. So I don't want to read any more retardism out of you tonight, Nikki. I understand that you're trying to be cute and negative or whatever the fuck, but shut your fucking hole if that's all you got. Yeah, I know you. That's why I'm telling you, shut your fucking hole if that's all you got. If you were somebody I didn't know, you'd be banned already. Paul is a rad guy. Yeah. Not a rad guy. Did you move to Cali because it's your home? What? Because of my home state? Yeah, probably. Because last time I probably moved here because I got family here, because I know the area, because I knew it wasn't Hurricane Alley. I knew it was relatively cheap to find a place here, and we did. Now I'm stuck here, spinning my wheels in the fucking mud. I imprinted on Cali, not it on me. The day I was born, I left a fucking crater here. Apart from trying to see how Destiny works, or something you're trying to get out of your conversations, is it purely an interest? Yeah. It's like an interest to me right now. I'm not trying to get anything out of it. Like I said, if I wanted clout out of it, I would have clipped all our conversations to shit. I would be like fucking tweeting about them constantly. I've tweeted like twice about Destiny on my Twitter account in all the years I've been on it. I haven't made any clips of anything that I was only streaming one time that we talked, and it was just because he happened to reach out while I was streaming, and I just went live with him. Other times I haven't even bothered to turn my stream on when I try and talk to him. You know what I mean? It's not clout. I don't care about getting fucking subscribers off of mine. I make enough money doing what I do. So it's not about getting money. It's not about getting recognition. It's about purely like I'm interested in his mind and his job, and you know how he differs from me, but we do the kind of like the same work. He's definitely a dude that does the same work that I do, but on a different fucking level than I do. So it's interesting from that perspective as well, right? And that's all it is. Yeah. No clue who you are, and the algorithm just kind of tossed you in my feed, but you seem like a chill, no nonsense dude. Thanks, man. Yeah, this is what we do. We're not always talking about shit, you know, that you might not understand, but you know, we just chill. I try and be interactive with the chat to the extent that I can, and I try and keep the vibe chill because, you know, I'm a dude that has also like scrolled shorts and lives and stuff quite a bit, just looking for something to chill to. And I've noticed that like a lot of it is people yelling and screaming, and people like trying to be all performative, people playing Fortnite and screaming at their opponents, and like people playing poker and yelling and screaming, and you know, it just seems like there's a lot of angst, and I try and not be that, you know what I mean? try and be as non-angsty as I can to provide a little platform for people to chill on. That's why I don't monetize this. There's not super chats flying around and all kinds of crazy bullshit. It just is what it is, right? I'm a communist, but I get called a lib. Like, I don't even think money in class should exist. Cool. Yeah, everybody always calls people libs. Lib is just a useless word now. Do an NPC stream. No. Did you say that Dune was a formative book in getting you to think about the future? I know science fiction. Yes. Yeah, science fiction did more for me politically than any manifesto. Yeah. So my dad gave me Dune when I was about 13 years old. I was having anxiety problems, and he told me that book helped him. That book had helped him. And I read it, and I immediately I learned the litany against fear. I can't do it now. But I learned that. I started repeating that to myself. I started reading it right before I went to bed, and it would put my mind in a mode where I could think about its universe till I fell asleep. And so it was a really helpful book, and a pretty formative book for me too, politically speaking. Especially considering I got really interested and read the whole series, at that age. It took me till I was like 14 or 15 to finish them all, I think. But I read all of the Herbert Dune books. And, yeah, I liked them. Do you think about the political world a lot of the time, Paul? Yeah. Yeah, I do. It's one of those things that I have to, like, watch my diet, right, of political shit. It's like the world is crazy right now. You almost kind of have to watch, but to a certain extent, I don't, right? Like, when I'm not on the show, I'm not constantly, like, me and Amelia will have political conversations. Something big happens on one of my day off. It's not like I don't know or I won't talk about it, but I try not to live in it because I've lived in the soup before. I've been one of those people that was like a big part of my day to just get. I used to read 2 periodicals a day, spend a lot of my time watching cable news and shit, and reading The Atlantic and New York Times Magazine and blah 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 and the whole nine. Trying to stay informed, trying to know what was going on geopolitically, locally, internationally, and it drove me to the precipice of insanity. It literally drove me to the point where I felt like the world was about to fucking it. I was getting all paranoid and shit. It's like the more you know, even back then, and see, like, this was like probably like 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, kind of that I'm talking about. And the era politically was kind of strange, but it just felt like I just got myself in this mode where there's nothing good in the world anymore. It's all fucking collapsing. And I don't think you can be in the news and not see that happening. We're living in a collapse. So it's like watching the news of that collapse every day and learning about that collapse. I have a natural proclivity to call the fucking graph when I see it. If the fucking trend is down, everything I read is going to feed that. And so, yeah, I've been freaking out about it since I was in my 20s.
Starting to work out finally.
Oh. Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. Just work your jaw a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you ever fantasized about driving off into the distance and never looking back? Yes. Oh, God. I've got this, like, wanderlust thing in me. It was really bad when I was a teenager, especially as I aged up as a teenager. I had this, like, idea, like, fuck all of this. I'm just going to go somewhere, start a life, change my fucking name, never talk to any of these fucking people ever again in my life. My dad has that same thing. He asked me about it today. Because he said he's really stressed out. He's got a lot of shit going on in his life, and he's like, PJ, I just keep thinking I want to get in my car and just drive and just go wherever and start over. And I was like, yeah, I know, Daddy. I have that same impetus in me. You know, whatever it is that's in you is in me too, in that way. So yeah, I mean, it's a fantasizing thing. I mean, for me, it's a lot of time. It's like it's not necessarily getting away from people, although that's part of it. It's getting away from everything, like this neighborhood, this city, this town, this type of living, this fucking job, this fucking car. You know what I mean? Just dump it all, leave it all behind me, and go out into the wilderness and try and live a simpler life. Like, that calls to me, right? But not in a way that I would actually ever fucking act on. You know, it's just one of those things. I think it's a man thing. Maybe it's a human thing. I don't know. But I actually did it. You know, basically. When I ended my marriage, I knew I couldn't, you guys know, when there's a breakup, I don't know if this makes sense to you, because if you've ever been through a breakup with a long-term relationship, right? When there's a breakup and you live in the same area as people and you have the same friends as people, it never ends. It's like the breakup is never over. It has to be relitigated. You have to talk to all your friends about it, and then they're talking to her, and they're coming and they're relaying, and then you finally get in the room with her again, and she has all this shit she wants to, and you've already made your mind up. So it's over for you, but it's not over for 6 or 8 months. I couldn't hang. I couldn't take that. And so I confronted her, left, told her why, packed my shit, and I just got in my car and went. Now, it wasn't totally aimless, but I didn't know what the fuck my plan was. I'd never been to Texas in my life. I just literally stayed up all night worrying about breaking up with her, broke up with her, loaded up my car, ordered some weed from Weed Maps, had it delivered to my mom's house, told my parents where I was going, and then I fucking just hit the road. No sleep, drove all night. So 48 hours, no rest by the time I got to El Paso. It's fucked. And I hate to say it, but it's one of the greatest things I ever did. It's one of the bravest, smartest things that I ever did in my life. It changed my whole life. If I had been stuck in the mire of that relationship, I would not be on Drunken Peasants. I would have stayed with my wife. I can guarantee you. I would have tried again on a broken marriage, and it would have been another 5 years before I figured it out. It was the most brave, not to pat myself on the back, it was the most courageous thing I ever did in my life. Because it involved me not just leaving my marriage, I left everything. My interest in the home. If you don't stay in the home during a divorce, you have no claim to the home. My interest in the home, gone. Not that I wanted it. I didn't want to fight her on it. I told her that. I don't want to take a dime from you. I want half of our savings, because half of that money came from me, and that's it. And that's what I took. And that's what I lived on for the first 6 months while I figured out this fucking crazy life I live. And at the end of that 6 months, I was offered a full-time job, and I've never looked back. My whole life changed that day. Did you crash at someone's house? Were you home? No. Like I said, I didn't take half of it right away, but I took a chunk. I had access to my money, obviously. And so I started spending out of the bank account against my half. And I got a hotel room. I lived out of hotels. I did a lot of traveling in that 6 months because I was there at the hotel, and then I went to LA to do the DP meetup in LA. I was there for a week, and then the guys invited me to come to Ohio to be in the studio. And so I was like, fuck it. I mean, I'm living out of a hotel. Who cares? I'll go. So I went and lived in Ohio for a month and a half, 2 months. Maybe even 3 months, closer to. Came back to Texas, back into a hotel. And at that point, I was like, I got to find a fucking apartment. And so I was making enough money that I could go down, get an apartment. Got the apartment, got myself stabilized, you know what I mean, financially, started saving money again, paying my bills. Yep, got the little Dinor dog. You know, you can't have that if you're not settled in a place. Can't have a dog and live in fucking hotels. Yeah, I lived in an extended stay in Ohio for the 3 months I was there. And that was actually kind of chill and doable. Although, like, you get pretty fucking, like, stir crazy living in one room. But, you know, I made it work. And it was the bravest, best thing that I ever did. Why Texas? I mean, my whole story is very complex. So my marriage was bad for a while. I had met a girl online. As soon as I realized I had feelings for this person, I was not going to sit and like cheat on my wife. I'd already kind of like emotionally cheated, but I wasn't going to like go start like clandestine meetings with this person, fuck her behind my wife's back. I just wasn't going to do that. And so it was kind of like one of the catalysts that got me to finally realize, like, this marriage is dead. You've fallen in love with somebody else, or you've not fallen in love, but you're interested in somebody else. And so yeah, the girl that I'd met lived in Texas, so that's where I went. New here from Australia. Hello, hello. I like you Aussies. I had an Aussie friend for a while. You guys have a fun way of thinking. Yeah, my story gets, my life story gets picked over in these, man. People want to know what happened and why and when. Did you smoke in the hotel? No. My move back then was I would go down, because I had a Scion XB that was all tented out. And so I would park it like around in the back of the hotel in kind of like a dark area. And I would go out there, sit in it, and I'd just hotbox my car all the way out. Leave the windows cracked so that the smoke could like come out after I was done, so it didn't like reek of weed all day. And that was that, man. You smoke where you smoke. I was in Texas, man. You don't smoke weed in a Texas hotel room.
Yeah, you weren't even thinking when you did that weed maps thing before you left towards Texas.
No. Lived in California too long. I was just like, I gotta have weed. Never mind the fact I'm going to a place where it's like XXX illegal. Go to prison for 5 years for the amount of weed I had. Crazy, bro.
That's what you get with no sleep. Make decisions like that.
Oh yeah. I was already and like emotionally compromised too, obviously. You're shattered. People are finding out, calling you on your cell phone as you're driving down the road, and you're having exhausting conversation after exhausting conversation. Dude, I did some wild, impulsive shit on that trip. I talked to my ex-wife called me finally, begging me to come back. I was in the desert outside of LA, heading like steaming towards Arizona, and it wasn't happening. You know, like it just wasn't gonna happen. It wasn't gonna work. And after that conversation, after I hung up with her, I took my wedding ring off and flung it out the window into the desert. It was fucked. It was $700 wedding ring, and somebody got it.
Or no.
Or no one. Yeah, maybe it's still there.
Maybe a little scorpion walked around with it for a while.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's out there it's on the Barstow Freeway somewhere, man. That's a movie moment. It just felt like the right thing to do, because I was like still wearing it.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it, and I was like, you just told this woman that you're not coming back and that you're not interested in fixing this. You don't need that anymore. Bing! Out it went. Go on an adventure and find it. It'd be tough.
It was a pain in the ass for you anyhow. Kept eating up your finger.
Yeah, it was not a great ring.
At least that spacer works for you. Or that sizing ring.
Oh, it does. Like the opening scene of Easy Rider, I guess so, yeah, kind of. She begged you to come back. She wanted to make it work. Damn, yeah, she did. Yeah. I mean, I was the aggressor, and I was the person that initiated the divorce. She did not want that.
Did she even ever insinuate it, or no?
Well, but no, not divorce. Early on in our relationship, she gave me an ultimatum one time. That was weird. Now that I think about it, it was kind of a fucked up ultimatum, but whatever. She was sick of me working at Starbucks, not because of the money, but because I hated it. Like, I had gotten really salty about my job and really jaded about it because of the drive-through shit that had happened. I was just working. I just hated it. And she basically called me. We had started dating probably like 3 or 4 months before. We weren't living together yet, but like, she was over at my place a lot. She didn't come over one day after work, and I called her, and she said, "I think I'm leaving you." And I was like, "What happened?" So I just can't be around your negativity anymore. Your job is killing you. You hate it, and all you do is bitch about your job and blah 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 blah, and you don't have any aspirations to do anything better. And I was like, okay, so what do I got to do to show you that I'll try and be better? Get another job. I was like, okay, I'll do that. I'll hate it too, but I'll do that. And so I did. I got that job at I started asking around. I got the job at the school district lined up. Quit my Starbucks job, moved to that. And then we got married. That's what she needed to see, I guess, because that job was a job that, like, for better or for worse, I could have worked it till it had a retirement plan.
Yeah, there was probably more stability than Starbucks.
100%. Yeah. Full, great benefits because it was a government job and blah, blah, blah.
Couldn't get fired for just no reason.
Right. Union protections and government protections against, just firing for no reason. It was a stable job, and I could have worked it till I died, basically. And I think that's what she wanted me to do. I think that's what she wanted to see. She wanted to see me working at a place that I could just die at. And once I did that, we got married, tried to have kids, couldn't have kids. I'm infertile, found that out through testing. Stayed together for a few years. At one point in that area, my best friend moved into our house after he got divorced. He then slept with his divorced wife and made a baby with her. They were still divorced, and now he had half custody of a baby. So we had half custody of a baby in our home. He stayed for 6 fucking years, and at the end of that 6 years is when I left. It had just like destroyed our relation. Not that, like, the me being unhappy at my job, her not being able to have children, my friend taking advantage of us and bringing a child into her house, and not, she like latched on to that because she couldn't have kids, but it was driving me insane to come to my home every day and have somebody else's child destroy it. And all of that built up to the point where my wife and I were living on opposite ends of the house. I was sleeping down there, she was sleeping up there. It was fucked. And so I just left. It was unfixable for me. And coming to that realization was tough, but that's what you do. Paul, do you think you'll ever be able to retire? Appreciate the early morning stream. Probably not. No, I don't have a retirement plan, really.
You got something. It's just, you gotta figure out how to start putting stuff in it again.
Yeah. You made the right choice. Yeah, I know. A much happier person as a result of all of that craziness. That's why I say it's the smartest, bravest thing I ever did. I took control of my life. And I'll never relinquish that. Do you have a day job? I do not. I do this for a living. I'm a podcaster. I have been for 10 years. So I make my money exclusively doing this. and that's an awesome thing. That's a lot of people's dream. So I'm very aware that I'm lucky to get to do what I do, but it's also a hard job. People don't think so, but it is. So yeah, it's pretty neat. How different would you be if you'd never seen a TJ video? I mean, obviously, I'd be in a whole different. You guys wouldn't probably have ever seen me. You know, I definitely probably wouldn't have started a YouTube, and then I wouldn't be here. Yeah, it's just interesting how you never know, like in your life, what things are gonna shape you. Right? It's like a roller coaster ride. I didn't think at that time when I started YouTube, like, you're gonna do this for a living. In fact, I thought the opposite. I was like, this is cool because it's just a hobby where I can, you know, do artsy fartsy stuff or make political statements or argue with people about religion. And then, you know, it's like cool. It's like an outlet for me. And I treated it like that for like probably the first 10 years I was on the platform. Maybe a little less, 6-7 years. And then it just kind of morphed over the course of my 20s into something I did more, and I took more seriously, and I bought more equipment for, and you know, the connections that I'd made with other creators started to matter. You know, I was a guy that had been around since the very earliest days, and so no, I wasn't like a celebrity like a lot of people knew me. A lot of people knew of me. TJ was one of those people. TJ started a podcast early on when podcasts were kind of like the fresh thing to be doing. Started it with a guy I didn't know. That guy knew about me and said, hey, don't you know that Paul Zigo guy? We should have him on the show. TJ said, he probably won't want to come on the show. But the guy reached out to me. I said, yes. Rest is history, man. That one phone call, I didn't realize it at the time because I just thought, oh, cool. They want me to go on a podcast as a guest. Neat. I like that. Didn't know that that was what I was going to do for my life, or at least for a living for the next 10 years of my life. Pretty crazy, right? Story time with Paul segments on DP was one of my favorite segments. Yeah, I mean, you know, the advice you've given me has helped me as I've navigated my divorce. I appreciate you, Paul. Yeah, cool. Yeah. It's one of those things, you know. I don't mind talking about it. It's not like super painful for me to think and talk about. And I know it's something a lot of people face, and it's never easy, but you know, it can be cathartic to hear other people's stories and how they navigated it. It's crazy how one little thing can change everything. It's the butterfly effect, right? Certainly when it comes to your life, that exists. You know. Butterfly effect. Sometimes the tiniest little thing becomes the biggest thing, you know. Interesting. But I can't help but feel like because I didn't realize it at the time, that it's less my choice and more just being swept along by the wind, you know. I wonder if that's how it is for other people too. I was never a person that was deliberately forging a future. I could never bring myself to picture myself going through the process. Do this, do this, do this, do this, arrive here. It was the arrival zone that was always nebulous to me. Like, what do you actually want to be? I don't know. And it was that way all through my 20s. That's why I'm so, like, hard but empathetic to people that are in that age range, because it's like, I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to be yet. This idea that when you're 20 you have to make a decision about what your life is going to be is fucking retarded to me. Your 20s are supposed to be figuring that out. At least that's how I look at them. But I feel like a lot of people know coming right out of fucking high school, or maybe even before, what they want to do. I just wasn't that.
You had ideas. Do they just feel more like just things that you said rather than like...
They felt like other people's ideas.
Yeah.
I told everybody back when I was 18, 19, 20 that I wanted to be a teacher because that's what my teacher, who basically partially raised me in high school, wanted me to be. So I wanted to be a teacher. When that fell apart because I didn't want to be a teacher, then I wanted to be an actor for a brief time. And when that fell apart because nobody gets to be an actor, then I just gave up on a dream and I was like, I just want to live. I just want to survive. I just want to make enough money so I can party and drink beer on the weekends or whatever the fuck. And then that became, I want to make enough money so I can party, drink beer every day, and take pills every day, and smoke weed every day. That's where I landed in my late 20s. So it was not a great journey, you know, but it was a lesson that I learned. Life can't be simple. Like, even a simple life is not very simple. Like, that's a low point, man. Off 5 or 6 Percocets, drunk, stoned, crawling up your stairs. You know how many times I had to, because my legs were rubber, so I had a split level condo, so I had to go up this stairs to get to my bed, crawl, drag myself up the stairs, fall asleep at the top of the stairs, because it was just like, oh, that's good enough. Pretty fucked. What do Percocet do? They're a barbiturate. They're an opioid. They make you dopey. Dopey as fuck. And it wasn't just perks I took. I took Vicodin, Percocet, whatever I can get my fucking hands on for the couple of years that I abused. I'm a recovering H addict, more accurately fentanyl, and I can't tell you how many times I had to crawl up the stairs to my bedroom while waking up half the household. I was pretty quiet about it, but yeah, I was pretty fucked, man. Pretty fucked up. You know, it doesn't help when you have people around you that have normalized the drug abuse and shit too. You know what I mean? I wasn't the only person I knew that was popping pillies. I wasn't the only person I knew that was drinking to excess, smoking way too much, all at the same time. Like, there's being cross-faded, and then there's what I'm describing, right? That's like triple faded, fucked. It just turned me into a fucking complete zombie. And that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted to, like, to quote Lil Peep, I wanted to disappear. You know, like... pass that shit over here, bitch, I'm trying to disappear. The last traumatic event was my brother getting killed in an industrial accident, and I became an alcoholic. Dude, people's pain is so fucked, and that, like, if you really dig down into an addict, you always find that pain. And that's what people are trying to escape with it, and it's fucked, bro.
It's despair.
Yeah.
People deal with that despair in different ways.
Yep. I was just very lucky that I had my sister. Like, we weren't even really all that close and talking all that much at the time. She just showed up at my house one day because she felt like she was worried about me. And I happened to be doped up. And I let her in, and she came in, and she was like, oh my God. You know, she saw me. I was just fucked up. And I just started crying, and she asked me what was going on, and I was so fucked up, I didn't hold anything back. I just told her everything. And she didn't judge me. She didn't call the cops. She didn't threaten to take me to rehab. She just told me I needed to stop. And I did, as a result of that. It was, you know, she saved my ass. And she was the only person in my life that noticed what was going on. You know.
What was it that you think that made it so? Would you say that? Did you go through like withdrawals at all, or did it feel like it went pretty smoothly?
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I don't think I was abusing at the level, because it wasn't like I wasn't taking it every day. I couldn't afford to. I was taking it every chance I got. So every once in a while, if I was having a bad day, I would pop one before I went to work. And that would just, mellow me. And then I would party with them on the weekends and get fucked up. And then I'd be out for a while, out for a week, and then I'd find another fucking bag of pills, and I'd fucking okay. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, I never got into the cycle of like, I'm having to do this every day to maintain. So it was easier for me to drop, but I was heavily abusing the shit for 2 years. Just not, I don't know. Maybe I dodged it, the worst of it. I do remember it sucked getting off of it, but not like, I don't feel like I had like the full opioid shit. Thanks for your honesty on this subject, yeah. You definitely weren't to the physical addiction stage yet. Opiate withdrawals of any stripe, when you're truly in the cycle, feel like your molecules are all exploding at once. Yeah, I've heard. I didn't have anything like that. So I was just like abusing them in a dangerous way, but not, you know, enough to the point where I was developing a full-blown addiction to the opiate. Started out for just work, and I was like, I can't really enjoy it there, so more like at home. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it started with me too, honestly. I would take one before work, and it would help my back and feet and legs not hurt as much, and it would keep me mellow and make the day feel like it went by a little faster. And so, you know, that started to become a thing that I would do on bad days. And then, you know, and then I started like, well, fuck, man, I'll pop one and party with it. Because when I figured out you could pop one and then drink a few beers and it like elevated it, that was the dangerous point for me. Having like a few beers and elevating that one pill that you took to feel like it's 3. And then you get a tolerance to that level, and so you start popping 2 pillies on the weekend, and then it gets to be 3, and then you're starting to get to that fucking mode where you're just like, I can't talk, can't walk, everything's rubber and jelly, and your brain is working at like 10% capacity, you know. Pretty fucked up. You want a beer, baby?
No, thank you, honey.
I don't know how many we have, actually. Maybe that was what helped you. All right. I love you. All right. Oh, yeah. Time to drink a beer. Too much of a stoner for it, though. Honestly, afraid to fuck with coke. I haven't. Okay, man. It's still where it's what drug you done. What drug you done? That's okay. Ooh. I love alcohol. That's my problem. It never gives me anxiety, but THC, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, I've been drinking beer more lately. I monitor that shit. But it's just like summer shit for me. Like sitting out in the summer having a couple beers feels nice. And so I've been having a beer here and there in the evenings. But I just can't even conceive of drinking like I used to. Like, at all. It's fucked, bro. THC gives me horrible anxiety. It used to, like, at different points in my life, it has done that to me as well. I have not always had the happy-go-lucky relationship with THC that I do now. There have been different points in my life where it's a bad idea for me to be high. Cheers. I can't drink much either because the after effects feel awful. Yeah, I don't ever drink to get drunk. You know, I might get a little fucking head change, a buzz off of a couple of beers tonight, but that'll be that. I have to be high as a kite to do my job. I hate it too much. Yeah, I know the feels. Do you think it's illegal to flash a blind person? Dude, that's like, what's the sound of one hand clapping, or if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound, right? Technically, yes, but who knows? That front end of weed when you first start smoking is too hard to get past, I guess. Coming up on 5 years, August 9th, since losing my best friend to heroin. Never thought I'd lose a friend to drugs. Shit sucks. Yeah, that shit does suck, bro. I'm sorry to hear that. Sucks losing somebody to drugs, for sure. When I was doing construction, I only smoked at night. During college, I was baked 24/7, though. I don't know if it's the worst habit. No, I mean, it's a habit, but it isn't the worst habit. There were definitely way worse drugs that you could be a daily user of, okay? Yeah, but it is a habit, and it can be destructive in your life, depending, you know. But I smoke daily, all day, every day. And I have for years and years, and it helps me. Helps me to, like, mellow out a very unquiet mind. You know, the reason I'm out here at 2 in the morning talking to you guys is because I have an unquiet mind. I need to be communicating in some way. Weed is great. I've just fallen out of recently. I might go back to daily use. Well, yeah. I mean, you don't have to. I'm not trying to, like, evangelize it. You gonna smoke up during the Bosch gauntlet? Yeah. Yes. 100%. I just cracked 1 beer open. Cheers on you, Paul. Cool. Clink, clink, and all that, right? Yeah. I have drunk until you see 4 eyes, yeah. I kind of want to take LSD one more time, but how do you find it? Okay, officer. Here's what you do, officer. Go to the evidence room at your police station. I'm sure there's LSD in there. Man, I really want to do some LSD, but I just don't know where to cop. if you want some LSD, officer, I'm sure there's some in the evidence room at your local police department. It's so stupid. Fed posting. I love it. Anybody know where I could find some cocaine? Oh. Man. It's like a fucking AA meeting in here tonight. I guess that's fine. Sorry, I'm having a Modelo at the AA meeting, but hello, fellow hippies and drug users. Does anyone know where I can score some drugs? It's Modelo time. Just got the Doomer tote bag. I love it. Sick. Do you care about whether Biden steps aside? No, I don't. I don't think it matters. I don't think there's anybody in the DNC struggle. I mean, I think like if he does, it's going to be Kamala. Like they're just going to coronate Kamala Harris. And at that point, I think she drops the strap to Trump probably worse than Biden does. Nobody likes Kamala. She does not present well to the public. The public does not react well to her. So she's not going to be like some saving grace for the Dems. I don't think they can win. I think Donald Trump wins this. The best thing about Kamala stepping up would be Hillary watching her be the first female president. I know that would be pretty fucking dope. Why is Modelo your favorite brand? It isn't. It is. I don't really have a favorite anymore. My favorite brand of beer, back when I was a heavier drinker, used to be Newcastle, but then Newcastle sold its brewery in Newcastle, England to some other company, and they changed the recipe of Newcastle to make it cheaper, and it tastes like ass now. So I can't even drink a fucking Nuki Brown anymore because they taste like shit. So now I just drink whatever. I really honestly don't drink beer all that often. You ever get paranoid smoking being you're a public figure? I don't give a fuck. I live in California. Come get me. Yeah, no, I don't care about, I guess I don't suffer from the type of paranoia that, I have a lot of health paranoia, okay? I'm an IPA fan. I do like IPAs. You know what? Maybe next time I go shopping, I'll get like an Arrogant Bastard or something. I used to really like that IPA back in the day, and they are pretty fucking sweet to drink. But you know, I'm not a picky guy with beer. I'm very much like, you know, I like chocolate stouts. I like barley wine. I don't know if you've ever had barley wine. Like that's a really high ABV beer to the point where it's more like, it's closer to a wine. Barley wine is really good. I like mead, like honey mead. You know, so I'm really like just a beer enjoyer in terms of like, I usually won't turn one turn one down for any reason. You know what I miss the most? Coffee. Oh, yeah, I talked about coffee. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't drink coffee like I used to, but I still know a lot about it. But I was a caffeine freak for like 10 years of my life, bro. Viking over here. Viking over here. Everybody look out, we've got a Viking. It's true though. I am a Viking. I'm a Viking. I prefer energy drinks nowadays just so I don't have to, yeah, man, that's the fucking stage I was at where I finally quit, Abby. I'm not saying that you're head careening towards that, but once I graduated to the energy drink stage, it was about 1.5 to 2 years of that before my body told me like, well, your heart's gonna explode, so you better stop. What are you hyper fixated on nowadays, Paul? Watches. Oh my God, man. It is so hard for me as a dude. I don't have tons of money, but I've got like expendable income. You know, I want to like budget myself. It is so hard for me not to impulse purchase watches. I just like, I see cool watches that I desperately want every second of every day. I've been like obsessed with watches for a couple of years, and now that I own 5 of them, I'm just like, I want 6, I want 7, I want 10, I want 20. Like there's got to be a limit, right? Like I'm gonna have to find some, I mean maybe there doesn't, but I'm gonna have to like space it out. That's why I've said no watches for Paul's ego until Christmas. I will buy myself a nice Christmas watch. I've got a couple in mind. I need a dive watch that I can go swimming in and shit, because I'm moving to the coast. So I'm thinking I'm gonna get a nice dive watch for Christmas. Wife got me a nice Fossil for our anniversary. You know, Fossil watches are all right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a nice watch. This is a Sternglass Hamburg Argo. It's a mechanical watch with a date functionality, and it's a beautiful watch, man. I love this watch. You know, I like the pop of color on the dial. It's kind of hard to see because it's dark. It's green, blue, and like a kind of a red. And then I've got the strap that has the red accents and the green stitching and stuff. I like this watch a lot. It's a sick watch. What is it about watches that does it for you? I'm just fascinated with them. I love watch dials and faces. I love the mechanics of them. I just think they're gorgeous to look at. Swatches are cool. Yeah, there's a couple swatches I want to get eventually. I don't think I'll get them right away, but yeah, there's a couple that I'd like to get. It's a very illustrious watch. Yeah, I have some pretty dope watches, man. Not very expensive watches. I don't own. I'm not a Rolex guy or a Patek Philippe guy, you know, or an Audemars guy or a Vacheron guy. I do, you know, have a Grail watch that's very expensive. Every watch guy has a watch they'd buy if there was money was no object. Mine's an All Long and Sona Zeitwerk Grandmaster chime. That's my Grail piece, and that's a $200,000 watch or more probably. I do like Casios, yeah. I've got a Casio data bank that I wear for my beater watch. I don't own any like Casio or mechanical Casios yet, but I'll probably get one eventually. I think they're pretty dope. I just kind of like micro brands and stuff. So I own two Stern Glass watches. They're a German micro brand. I own a Zurich watch. They're an American micro brand that makes crazy watches. I own an Autodromo Group C, which is a digital watch. And then I own my Casio data bank. So it's a good beginner watch, something modest, under 250. Look at Casios. Casio has a lot of cool mechanical watches and quartz watches, and they look like a lot more money than they are. And you can get one for under 250 bucks. You just got to figure, you got to get something you like the shape of and the look of on your wrist. G-Shocks are great. G-Shocks are great. Yeah, it's never a bad idea to get a G-Shock. They'll last forever. You know what I mean? And they look pretty good on the wrist, so why not? Yeah, I mean, they've got gold Casios. I love all the crazy looking watches, yeah. I mean, I can go get my craziest looking watch if you guys want real quick, and I'll throw it on. Here, I'll do that for you. I'll just swap out my watch, and I'll give you my weirdest watch, okay? I love you. Yeah. I know the light out here is not great, so you guys probably won't be able to see this. I gotta get it wound and set too, because I haven't worn it in a couple of days. What's the date today? I guess it's the 21st. And it is 2:32 in the morning. All right, let's wind her up. Okay. No. There we go. Yep. 32. It's 2:33 or 4 now, probably. That, we'll get the date going. It is the 22nd, 21st. Oh, God, I'm blind as a fucking bat. It's kind of sad, but true. There we go. Now I can actually see. Okay. Cool. All right. So this is my Xeric Solascope 2. This is a mechanical watch. Hold on, let me get the light on it a little bit. Yeah. It's a mechanical watch. Really hard for you guys to see right now, unfortunately, in the light, but it is square. It's got a 24-hour clock on the right over here with an arrow that points to the general hour, and then it reads the hour on the white part here, and the outer rim there is a circle that moves around that circles the minute. It's got a little ticker in the middle. My favorite thing about this watch is the open case back. So you can see the rotor back there that keeps it wound. So while you're walking around, this thing spins around on your wrist and winds the mainspring. Pretty neat, right? And, hold on. Yeah, it's a pretty dope watch. It's huge, which I've got pretty big wrists, so it's nice for that, you know. I like having like a pretty big piece. That's what it looks like when I'm wearing it. Dope ass fucking watch, bro. I know how to do basic watch repairs, but it's one of the things that I want to learn about the hobby, like how to take my watches apart and service them. Would be really neat to learn, because most of my watches require that. They're mechanical watches, so every 10 years or something I'll need to take them in to get them serviced and oiled, and I'd like to learn to do that kind of stuff myself. It'd be really neat. Just a very finicky business, and it requires a lot of really specialized tools and a very steady hand. Sounds tedious and headache inducing. Yeah, I mean, I guess for certain people. I guess it's not a hobby that's for everybody. Apple Watch is better. Cool. I mean, if you like that. I like this watch because if there's like an EMP goes off, this watch works. It's not electric at all. It's entirely mechanical in operation. Works on a tiny little spring that is brought to tension. Your Apple Watch will just be a hunk of shit once the fucking apocalypse jumps off, my friend. But I'll still know what time of day it is because I've got a Xeric Soloscope. No, I'm kidding. This is a Xeric Soloscope too. Xeric is Xeric. They've got crazy watches, bro. I've got my eyes on a couple other Xerics. I definitely want to own 2 or 3 pieces of Xeric, 2 or 3 pieces of Stern Glass, and probably 2 or 3 pieces of Autodromo before I move on. I like a smartwatch, but I forget to charge it, and I have a dead watch a lot of the time, yeah. What are you going to need to make a meeting? Why? Or no, you don't need to make a meeting, but it's like, you know what time of day it is, you know how many hours you got till day fucking of daylight you've got left, you know whether it's noon or 2 p.m. You have to come to a guy like me to get that kind of information after the appointment, or you're gonna have to kill me and take my watch. That's probably what you'll do, okay? You'll probably murder me and take the watch off of me, okay? Or pull your phone out. You know what an EMP is, right? Electromagnetic pulse. It immediately fries anything that works on an electronic battery or is hooked up to AC DC power. Immediately fries it, makes it completely useless, blows all the transformers. There's no electricity anyway. What good is your phone gonna fucking be, bro? You got the eternal battery option on your phone. Did you pay the extra $10,000 to get your? Yeah, you missed that part. Yeah, you missed that part. No, it's all good, bro. You can put a stick in the ground and tell how much time has passed. Yeah, you can do that, or you can have a mechanical watch. You could do that too. Whoa, it's Santa Claus. You've been a bad boy this year, you little bastard. Let me tell you something. You're getting a stocking filled with coal, Christian Crusader. Okay, quit being a Christian Crusader. All right, just be a human being. Love Santa. You're getting coal. Coal for you this year. Been a bad boy. That name makes me sad in my heart. You know why it does? Because I bet you're not a Christian Crusader. I bet you're just a fucking nerd that goes to church and reads the Bible and fucking does little else. Yeah, Jesus doesn't like that name, bro. Jesus didn't like the Crusades. Yeah, I mean, you should look into getting one, man. Like I said, there are a lot of like main brand ones that you're not going to go wrong with. Fossil makes a mechanical, although you're going to want to make sure if you're not getting a quartz watch. There are quartz watches that look like mechanical watches. They make a quartz version of this, where that's like a battery powered watch, right? It just functions like a mechanical watch. So, to make sure you're getting a fully mechanical watch with a Japanese or Swiss or German movement in it, those typically are the best. There are a couple of American movements that are like proprietary in-house movements, but most of the time you're going to want a Japanese movement, a Swiss movement, or a German movement in your watch. All of my mechanical watches have Japanese movements. In fact, most of them run on a Miyota, which is like a Miyota 5160, I think it is. It's a Japanese caliber. How do mechanical watches operate without a battery? So there's a little thing inside called the barrel, right? And inside of it is this tiny piece of steel. It's woven like that. When you wind your watch, that steel gets tension in it, right? And then, do you know anything about gearing or gearing ratios? So gearing, like when you have gears, I don't want to fucking blow your whole mind out, but when you have gears, what they do is they take power and they condition the power. So you can ratio power out with gears, right? And so you've got this spring that's wound out. That spring wants to go boing, right? But the mechanics of the watch keep it in check, keep it at tension, and have it let out little bits of tension, right? And those little bits of tension drive the gears and make the watch tick, right? And then when that spring finally goes slack, your watch will die. Like this one, I had to wind it up because I hadn't worn it in a couple of days. This one has a 26 or 28 hour power reserve. So if I just wind it up tonight, it'll be good for 28 hours, then it'll die, right? So, gotta keep that in mind. But yeah, eventually they tick out. Yeah, like a car transmission, like anything that's got gearing power. So like your lawnmower, if you got a gas mower, has gears in it. How does it stay accurate? Well, that depends on the movement, right? So the reason that if you were to pop open your watch and look inside of it, it's tons of tiny little gears, right? And there are tons of parts in it. The barrel bridge and the mainspring barrel that I talked about, the train of wheels, they call it, that drive the overall power of the watch. And then you've got the second hand, and you've got all of these mechanisms, right, that work in concert to keep your watch accurate. Now, is a mechanical watch exactly accurate? No. Every mechanical watch loses probably between 2 and 3 seconds a day against real time. Quartz watches are actually way more efficient. Now, if you get higher end calibers in your watch, so you're talking high end Swiss calibers, so the best in the world, those are far more accurate than the Japanese Miyota caliber I'm wearing in this watch. But you're looking at buying a watch that's going to cost you upwards of $2,500 at that point to get a good Swiss caliber. And I'm talking sometimes way upwards, right? You could get like a Tissot or something that's got a good Swiss caliber in it for 1500, 1400, but that's about the low end, right? Then you're talking about Rolex, then you're talking about Patek Philippe, then you're talking about Audemars Piguet, then you're talking about Vacheron Constantin, then you're talking about like higher end fucking watches that are way fucking crazy expensive, bro. Like super ultra expensive. So I have a wind-up pocket watch. Neat. I can't understand English. You're gonna have a rough time in here, buddy, because I can't understand anything but English. What's a good budget mechanical watch you'd recommend? Like I said, check out Casio G-Shocks. They make mechanical Casios and G-Shock watches that you can get. Good entry-level stuff. You could also, like, if you're looking to spend around $400 or $500, that's usually what I spend on a watch. Sternglass, it's Sternglass, is a good watchmaker. They make really solid mechanical watches, really beautiful Bauhaus German look, if that's your thing. Kind of instrument panel, pilot watches and instrument watches. I have a chronograph that I wear all the time from them. It's beautiful. So yeah, Sternglass is a great entry-level company to grab your first mechanical watch. If you want to spend about $500, if you want to spend less than that, Casio is a really good one to look at. What do you think? What do you think it's about watches in the upper class Richmond using it as added value item? So it's like any luxury item, right? I'm not into Rolexes. I don't even really think Rolex looks all that great. Like for the money especially. Like I think some of them look pretty tight, but most of them are kind of fucking shit. So, but yeah, there's a status symbol. It's like cars, right? Want to buy a Ferrari, that means something to people. When you drive up in it, you got to pay the premium. You want to have a fucking Vacheron on your wrist and you want to impress a banker with it, that's going to cost you 40 grand, you know. Hate to change the subject, what is your tattoo plan? I don't want to talk about it. You'll see when I get them. I've got a plan in my mind, but I got to work it out with my artist and get a fucking date and all of that, so. I'm meeting with the guys tomorrow, and we're supposed to hopefully hammer out a tentative date range for a meetup back east, because I got to get to Pittsburgh, because that's where my guy's at. My dad had a Rolex, but we got robbed at gunpoint when I was a kid. No more Rolex. Yeah, I could see that being a problem. Tattoo a Rolex on your wrist. Damn, that's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll get one tattooed on this wrist, so it looks like I'm wearing two watches all the time. %, brain power, right? Need a fake Rolex for public use? Nah, you just gotta be smart where you wear a watch. Any watch, really. certain places you're not going to want to flex 20 grand on your wrist. There's certain places it doesn't matter because everybody else has got 20 grand on their wrist. I don't think I'm looking to get full sleeves because I want there to be like skin space, but I want to get the backs of my hands and this side of my forearms done. That is my first step. I don't want to get up here yet. Well, I have a tat here. I want to get this touched up and I want to get it finished down eventually on this arm. I don't know about this arm. I waffle on what I want on this arm, but I would like to get both done. I want to get the hand, front and back here done on both. That's what I hope to get done with the tattoo artist. So that's what I'm hoping to get done. Ooh, we talking about tats. Yeah. Yeah, I have a tattoo I got when I was 22 years old. Never been touched up. I like the tattoo, but I've always wanted to get it finished, like into a quarter sleeve up there at least. And so I'd like to tie it in with my forearms, my hands. Nope, only have one tattoo, and the one I have I don't consider to be a bad tattoo, so. And, the guy that I'm working with is a fucking super duper talented guy. How many hours do you sleep? Typically between like 5 and 7, somewhere around there is typically when I'll wake up, typically after 5 or 7 hours of sleep. I want a tattoo, but they're so darn expensive. Yeah, they are. But for me, like, I've wanted them for a long time in my life. I may eventually want to get stuff done, like, because I want to get the backs of my hands done here. And I eventually might want to get stuff done on my first knuckle. Maybe not lettering or anything, but something put here, down onto my fingers. And then I'd like to tie the forearms into the upper arms eventually and have a couple full sleeves. But for now, I just want to see them on my hands and arms. So I'm in California. How much did you get quoted? The guy that's gonna do my tats comes in here sometimes. His name is Zach. He's a tattooist out of Pittsburgh. And he tells me he's not going to charge me for anything. And I told him that's not going to happen. So I don't know. I don't know. He's going to get paid somehow, but I don't know what he'll charge me. But he wants to do the work for free. And I'm not going to let him do that. Thinking about buying the kit off Amazon and fucking around. Ooh, all right. Don't fuck around on yourself. Get Paul tattooed on your knuckles, yeah, dude. And salt on the other. My left is my mean hand. I'm right-handed, but I got a mean left hook. I got a surprising left hook. So I put salt on the left, Paul on the right. All right, we're starting to flesh it out now. You are a laid-back dude. I am. I'm pretty kickback. I mean, I'm kind of like high-strung, to be fucking frank with you. But as a dude to talk to and chill with, I'm super chill. Just hard to live with. My wife is a saint. I'm a moody fuck, okay? But ultimately, as I've gotten older, I've gotten way more fucking laid back, bro. I know someone who bought a tattoo gun and did their own tats. They spent like 15 grand getting them laser removed. Aww. Aww. You're cool. Aw, thanks. I appreciate that, buddy. I'm getting pretty stoned. That's nice. I mean, I'm always kind of stoned, but getting kind of extra stoned, which is nice. I'm gonna go do my stretches. Takes me about 4 minutes. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Okay. That's better. That's way fucking better. If I don't do that at least twice a day, I don't feel like a fucking human being. I told people not to go anywhere. And like 25 people scampered off into the distance. And namaste, yeah. Stretch, pull strong, yeah. Yeah, yoga is fucking great, man. I've been adding more like calisthenic. So now I do 15 full squats every time I do it. That's like pushing my limit. Well, not my limit, but you know what I mean? Like, I started doing 1 or 2. Meditate a lot, yes. I do some DDP yoga, so yes, I have seen it. Some of the yoga I do, I learned from DDP. Some of it I just learned from YouTube videos for beginner poses. And some of it I've developed for myself. It's like back and neck stretches that particularly help me because of my scoliosis. So that's what I end up doing, plus the calisthenic workout of doing my squats and stuff. That really like helps with my legs, my knees. So yeah. Can I run for president? Dude, you have any idea they'd tear me apart, bro? I've done some wild shit on the internet, bro. Not even gonna lie to you. Normies would never vote for me for president. Not a chance. Zero chance of that. Are you related to TJ Kirk? No. No. I work with him. I'm his friend. But I'm not related to him. Actually, maybe I am, though. Because we were talking about it and we found out both of our families come from the same county in Scotland. Like, both sides of my family come from County Cumberland. Both sides of his family come from County Cumberland. So it's like, maybe we are distant cousins or something. But I like you, but I wouldn't vote for you. Yeah, see? My back and neck have been so benefited, and my legs and arms and all of that, and my chest, benefited from the stretches that I do. I've got better flexibility than I've had since I was in my 20s, probably. Like, I can bend over at the waist and put both palms on the ground. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, we do a podcast here on YouTube called Deep Fat Fried together every Tuesday and Friday. And we have a Patreon. We do all kinds of exclusive shit for them as well. So check it out. Yeah, we'll be live next Tuesday. So, what are your exercises or stretches called? I do yoga and zazen at the same, like I combined zazen with yoga, which is not uncommon. But zazen is Zen Buddhist practice. So I'm a practicing Zen Buddhist, although very, very new to it and very early in my practice. So I'm not trying to claim, it's very tough for me to say that to people because I've been doing it for a while, and I started calling myself what I've been doing. I do Zen Buddhist mindfulness meditation and yoga. So yeah. Going to bed. Hope you have a great night. Yep. Keep doing what you love. Yeah. Well, I mean, about love, but I definitely pay attention to it. And it centers me in a good way, I think. So that's why I do it. I don't know how deep I'll go into Buddhism. I do know that once I get moved, I want to build myself a small shrine so that I can do my zazen in front of the shrine. I think it would be a good focus for me. I already love incense, so having somewhere to kind of ritualistically burn some incense. I want to get like whatever the little ringing bowl is, because I love those tones. I love how long they sustain. And I want to start doing a more traditional kind of like personal shrine-based Buddhism. But I don't want to fucking get all of that built here and then have to tear it down and build it somewhere else. I want to get somewhere, because I know we're moving as soon as possible. So I want to get to that place first. Technology fucked the attention span of humanity, lol. How do I fix my sleep schedule? I wake up at 10 a.m., but I need to wake up at 5 a.m. Start waking up at 5 a.m. and you will adjust. Go to bed earlier. Wake up earlier. That's the way it works, man. Sorry. I used to have to get up at 3:30 in the morning to hit the shower, to wake myself up, to be at Starbucks by 4:15 so that I could be in the door by 4:20, so that I could have the door open by 5 a.m. So that was my schedule for probably like 5 or 6 years of my life. So yeah, you say never ever sleep during the day. I used to fucking supplement that way because I had a hard time. All my friends wanted to party at night. I worked early in the morning. It's like, how do you do that? Well, you work, you get off work at about noon when you start at 4 in the morning. You go home, you pass out for 4 or 5 hours. You wake up, you party with your friends, maybe get another hour or two of sleep, wake up, go to work. That was my cycle. Not super healthy, but I maintained it forever, so. I always wanted to make an outdoor shrine with incense and all that. That's my ultimate goal, but like I can't do that until I own a piece of land. I don't want to build a shrine and have to tear it down. I'd want to make it semi-permanent. But yeah, I'd love to have like a little, reflecting pond and have a nice little shrine outdoors with where I can burn incense and have my rain bowl and all of that. I work 4:30 p.m. till 2:30 a.m. I gotta sleep partially during the day. Oh yeah, that's like graveyard shift, Anyway, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because it's late, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.